Some of you may relate to this, some of you may not. If you happen to be a parent, your kids sometimes will not act perfectly. I know. That was a surprise to me too. I really thought, with all the thought that I put into parenting, that my kids would just make the right decisions and not make mistakes. So you can imagine the shock that Brooke and I felt when, at the end of this last school year, and now, in all seriousness, one of our kids did go through a tough spell. Now, I'm not going to make it overly dramatic. Nothing crazy happened. My kids are young, but one of my daughter's friends got hurt by some comments that she made. And the very thing that you think you're coaching your kids towards, which is to be encouragers, uplifters, looking out for everybody, making sure everybody's cared for, there was a lapse in that for one of my kids. And I'm going to keep from saying her name just for the sake of anonymity. Is that the word? I don't know. But it's hard and it's humbling as a parent to walk through that and to know that it's your child that needs extra coaching in this moment and needs to give a heartfelt apology and go to their home and make it right and go through an uncomfortable situation to learn a good lesson, but in a hard way. And I was reading in the beginning of Philippians and why that story has kind of taken on new life for me is that Paul is writing to the Philippians, and you got these new believers that he's writing letters to encourage. And so just for the sake of this, I want you to picture being one of the Philippians, like I'm one of the Philippians with you right now. And we're listening to Paul, this voice piece of God speaking through him to the early church. And here's the encouragement that Paul gives to his believers, to these early new believers. He says, I thank my God every time I remember you. In all my prayers for all of you, I always pray with joy because of your partnership in the gospel from the first day until now. And here's the verse that's really popped out. Chapter 1, verse 6. Being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. Being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you. It's a great reminder for me with my own personal life and for my kids that God began a good work in us, which has language towards there's still a long ways to go. And it says that he will carry it on to completion. That just because we have turned towards him and accepted the free gift of what Christ did on the cross, and we become Christ followers, and the Holy Spirit lives in us, and we have the ability to listen to him and have him guide our steps, we are still going to be on this curve or this journey towards completion, towards maturity. And what's going to be needed along the ways are the trials and the mess ups and all the ways that we drop the ball in trying to become more and more like him. And so in the case of my daughter, it's helpful to remember that even though God began a good work in her, we're going to have to trudge through some stuff. We're going to have to trudge through some failures, just like me in my own life can look back at all of my failures and how God wanted to use those to carry me on towards completion until the day of Christ Jesus, until either Christ Jesus comes back or I'm joined with him up in heaven, whatever that looks like. This is a process that I'm now a part of, and a process that my kids are now a part of, and that you're a part of. In some ways, it should allow us to extend grace, just like God is extending grace towards us in the moments where we feel like failures and in the moments where we don't do things that we want to do, or that we listen to our flesh more than we hear the Spirit and act. And it also extends more grace towards our kids and others, close friends and close family who screw up, and know that God began a good work. It's not that he did a good work and now we're acting counter to that. He began a good work and now we're in the process of becoming more and more like him and using the mess ups and the valleys of this life to learn and allow him to work through to bring us to a new place. So let God form you through your mistakes, give grace to others who are learning from their mess ups, and enjoy the fact that you are unfinished and God is at work in your life. Feel free to encourage a friend with this message. Subscribe if you haven't already to this weekly routine, and we will see you again next week. Thanks.